Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. I'm Alexander, and here we dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs and marketing innovators. Each episode, we uncover the challenges, triumphs, and unique strategies of our amazing guests, giving you valuable insights and inspiration. Our goal is to build a community of growth-oriented professionals ready to learn, collaborate, and thrive in the ever-evolving world of digital marketing. So whether you're here for the latest trends or looking for that next big idea, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. And today we've got Gill Burke, one of the three founders of Beta A2, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in detail later. Gill has been in the farming and food industry for over 30 years, leading consumer research, rolling out new products, streamlining processes and systems, and creating groundbreaking products, including frozen desserts and snacks. I can't wait for you to hear her story. Let's dive in. Gill, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Alexander. It's lovely to meet you.
So, for people that don't know, the name Beta A2 sounds like very esoteric. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what is Beta A2?
So we're a Australian dairy company, but we specialise in milk that is actually the A2 beta casein. So that's why we've called ourselves Beta A2. And it comes from, and certainly here within Australia, it's quite well known, but the rest of the world not, that the researchers found that the A1 beta casein in milk, which is found in dairy, but not in goat, not in buffalo, not in human breast milk. So our bodies are not designed to be able to cope with it. So we actually utilize milk from cows that are genetically tested to only produce the A2 beta casein. And all of our products are actually based on A2 milk.
So it's a very specialized meat that's actually, better for human health or better for health in general.
It is, yes. So the A1 beta casein actually, as it digests, it causes like a sedative effect on your gut. So that feels like bloating, being lethargic, all those sorts of things. And people often think that it's lactose intolerance. Usually, though, it's actually the A1 beta casein that's causing the problems. So all milk used to actually be A1 free, but through the period, there was a genetic mutation, and it just so happens that the cows who produce the A1 milk produce more milk. So we haven't meant to, but we're actually making now a lot of milk that has got the A1 beta casein in it. So we just test the cows. And the milk is just like it tastes like normal milk. It's exactly the same. It just is missing that A1 beta casein. So if you consume it, you tend to feel better on it. A lot of people say that they can enjoy their milk again, and it does. It makes things easier on your digestion. So when we create all of our amazing products for people who are over 50 in particular, for babies with their infant formulas, they can get better results. Hence another name for the better.
Yeah, no, but that's pretty incredible. But it's not really something that like you wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm gonna, find cows that have that special that special milk and then start a brand like that. Like we have people right now with beauty products or whatever other e-commerce business, I would say, that they can start within a month. So how did you come with the idea, and how did you get started with that business? Like, what is a little bit of your background and the background of your two other founders to really come up with a product that it's, I would say, like kind of solving the problem of milk, and like people say, like, I cannot drink milk, or it's not good for you, or whatever, and then you're kind of solving that issue. But I'm sure it's not something that came up in a month or one night at a bar and said, like, let's change milk.
So my background is actually I'm a dairy farmer's daughter. So I grew up on a Jersey farm in country Victoria, which is actually where our milk comes from now. And have actually spent most of my life in large corporate businesses. So learning about product innovation and finding actually consumer needs and doing a lot of research. From our other founders, so Mandy, she's a full-time business partner in the business, and she's a research scientist. So fits perfectly in with actually researching the research and finding out what the opportunities are, and finding out also, what are the trends and what's happening within the world market. And then Anthony Scarcella, he's another one of our founders, and his background is actually health and fitness. So he was a bodybuilder, very
Oh,
much
wow.
understanding about proteins, and he's also formulating nutrition products. So the three of us, when we came together, actually brought together like a lot of synergistic skills, I guess. In Australia, because we're intrinsically part of Asia, Asians tend to have more challenges digesting milk and dairy. So it is actually a key thought process and driver as to how can you actually create a product that is acceptable to our closest neighbours. So while in the US you probably don't so much know about it, there's getting to be some companies in the US who are doing it, and some farmers who are testing their cows, which is absolutely fantastic. Here we have an absolute heightened awareness of it. 75% of all of the Australian dairy we export, and the majority of that will go to China and Southeast Asia. So again, it's about understanding what do those markets need, and how do we communicate to them in a way that they can actually that they're naturally can deal better with milk. Therefore, that'll help them with their nutrition and their life, but it'll also help us with being able to market our products.
And so how did you found out? So is it something that was widely known when you started the business, the
So
A2 milk?
there is so in New Zealand there's a very large company called the A2 Milk Company. And they started doing some research. And then we've sort of continued on from there. They're a very large company, publicly listed, and are doing very, very well into China. They're based in New Zealand, and we're based in Australia. So we looked at the trends that they were able to achieve, and the way that what is the biggest challenge for us is actually educating people that, one, they can go back to consuming dairy again, and also why A2 is better. And they've gone down a different path to us in terms of how do we market those. But the more people marketing it, I actually think the better, because for one company alone to try and carry the whole weight of education, it is too much. So yeah, that's how we came about that.
And what is different about beta A2 compared to other, I would say, A2 milk companies?
So the majority of them actually focus on infant formula, because of course infant is when you're most susceptible to A1 beta casein. But we've actually created products that go across from from pregnancy all the way through to, you know, older people who are over 50. We actually compete against very, very large dairy companies, global dairy companies, and also global pharmaceutical companies. So the likes of Abbott's, Fonterra, you know, very big companies. What they tend to do is be everything to everybody. Whereas we're very specialized and we only do A2, and we've found our like our blue ocean to be that we make products for everybody, but only in A2 milk.
Very interesting. And I know that you're really big also on giving back to the community and helping the local farmers, right?
It's a very important part of why we do what we do. So I'm a dairy farmer's daughter. Mandy is from a grain and sheep farming community, and our seed founder is actually a farmer. So we're very, very connected to that. And look, many of my cousins' family actually still on dairy farms. In Australia, we're losing one dairy farmer a day is leaving the farm. And it's not only a bad thing in terms of supply of dairy, but it's impacting the social fabric of our rural communities, because it's not only a farm, it's a family's home. That family leaves the farm, and it is absolutely altering the way that our communities function. All of our plants that we use are regional plants as well. So not only do we source from local dairy farmers, we also use Australian packaging. We use regional plants to manufacture our products. The only things we import are the things that we can't get here in Australia. So
It's
we
as
believe
Australian
that
as it gets.
that's as much as we can. And then, you know, we really want to then export it to the world. So we export a lot of our dairy products, but most of them go across as commodities. So skim milk powders and things like that. So here we're trying to do as much as we possibly can, create a product that will really change people's health world over. But we should be able to assist the rural communities by actually delivering for them, not charity, but a market for their amazing produce.
And so, so you know, the idea of Beta E2 is really education, is really like putting the world out there, because it's a very special product, and everybody says, you know, the big saying goes, you are what you eat. So, you know,
Yes,
I believe in that. And
absolutely.
so, you know, I imagine that getting in such a huge and complex and competitive market is hard. So how do you go in your marketing? Like, where do you spend, I would say, most of your efforts and most of your money in to sell your products?
So that's been our biggest journey, strangely enough. Like, you know, apart from you know, the ideation and developing all of our supply chains, we were all very familiar with how to do that. What's been the biggest learning for us is how to market. And we've wasted a lot of money. We've gone with some very, very big, um, very well-known agencies who just didn't understand us. And we've done some really silly things, like we've, you know, had campaigns built outside of our network that we don't have control of. We've done some nutty things. Now what we do
You live, you learn.
yeah, like we've learned, I tell you, it's been a huge journey. And So there's two pieces of marketing we need to do. One is because we're looking for international distributors. So there's marketing that we do via international trade shows and international marketing and network via Austrade and global events. So that's one part. The other part is actually the consumer. And sometimes in the middle of that is actually the retailer. So we need to actually present to retailers, be put on their shelves, and then assist them with their marketing so that their consumers pick up. So again, we've gotten much better at understanding who we're talking to and learning the meaning of geofenced social media campaigns. Which is,
How
like
fun digital marketing is, huh?
yeah. But now what we do, like for our retail partners, which they're really important to us and an absolute partner in how we get our product to the consumer. So we'll do the traditional catalogs and displays, but we'll also do social media where we geofence within a certain space around every store. So when we run a promotion, we actually are driving consumers to their stores. We use Facebook for most of our products, Instagram for in particular, like our toddler milks and those sorts of things, because they tend to be a younger audience. And we're just starting to learn TikTok.
Are you doing the
Yeah.
dance? Are you doing the dance?
Oh my goodness. Crazy.
Click here.
Click here. I don't like, we're just learning that. We haven't really gotten good at that yet. And at the moment, it's not a market that the consumer we're after, but at the same time, we're beginning to learn that. I use LinkedIn to also communicate with international distributors and pick up. So that's business to business, LinkedIn. And I think that's how we came in. I got to know each other. And we, of course, do Google, add like Google search
Some
words and things like that. Yes.
So it's very,
So it's a
very
whole
broad.
package of everything. Yeah.
Pretty
We've
impressive.
also started to bring it in-house and take advice from others, as opposed to, like, we've got some marketing people who we trust. They give us advice, and they may actually get in and build us a click funnel. We've got the lead magnet, and you run through the funnel. But now we actually control that ourselves. And in-house, we're building now a solid knowledge ourselves, but taking lots of advice and bringing it in, as opposed to farming it out. Yes.
No pun intended.
Which, yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah. So, but I have to say, it's been the most, probably the most rewarding thing, but the most challenging thing to learn, because there's so many different understanding who the consumer is,
And so many
the whole
layers,
idea of
because you
building
you really
avatar.
have to do it like at a very high level distributor, and like, how do I reach those people? How do I reach the retailers? How do I reach the customers of the retailers? And then how do we reach directly to people?
Yes,
It's a
yes.
it's a big job.
Yes, it is. It is. And the other part that I would say is that we have an online store on our website, which has a subscription model, which we've actually found to work really well for us. It's not very exciting going to the supermarket or going somewhere and having to remember to order a can of infant formula, or something like
And
that.
it's always something that,
Um,
like, you get stuck and you're like, oh, can you
yeah,
run to the store?
that's
And so now
right.
you're
Whereas,
solving that problem
and
too.
yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And it's just like, whereas what we do is we deliver to the consumer, based on how much they're using. We deliver to them what we think should be about 4 or 5 days before they need it. And it just automatically arrives. And that's been a really successful thing. And we get a lot of really good positive feedback about that. The other place where we've had success marketing has actually been on online stores, so like Amazon, Buy Natural, a number of different ones which we've got here in Australia. And then we're just about to start doing that on the really big platforms like Lazada, and Shopee, which are the Southeast Asian versions, and are in fact bigger than Amazon
Wow.
in that region. Yeah.
And so how do you, so what are the logistics of that? So, if you're gonna start, sending to Shopee, or what is it, Lazana? Um,
Lazada.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lazada. So you're gonna have a 3PL partner, or you planning on opening some offices,
No, we'll
destination?
have so you actually send it to like a cross-border warehouse. So like would either be in Hong Kong or Singapore would be where you'd send your stock, and then they will distribute from those cross-border warehouses. So they don't actually enter the country. You actually send it in the held outside of the country. And for us, we've just started doing a very small amount of it just to figure out with our, how long's our supply chain, um, how quickly can we replenish, therefore, how much do we need to send, um, and all those sorts of things. So that's at the moment a big test market for us.
Wow.
And that'll be
And
different again because it'll be in different languages and different consumers as well.
do you have somebody to help you with that for the cultural differences?
So our distributors help us with that. So, and like that's why we have distributor partners in each country because they're the local experts. We're the experts in terms of the product. They're the experts in terms of
Local
the
business.
actual
Yeah.
country and the differences in not only language but tone and what the expectations are. Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty impressive. So that's a lot of project. And so what is the, I would say, like the latest or one of the latest project that you're particularly proud of, or one of like the big achievement of the company recently? It doesn't have to be something big, but some like something that you're like, wow, we were planning that, and like home run, amazing.
um, We haven't got results yet, but I'm actually really excited. I'm always excited about what we're doing now. If you know what I mean. Like, I think I'm a traditional entrepreneur. I'm like, okay, what's next? But we're really getting the hang of, running a lead magnet into entering into a funnel. And the whole idea in there is around the education piece, which is so critical for us, but we didn't do that well previously. We are trying to just sell to people as opposed to add value to them. So that's been one of our key learnings, and I'm really pleased with how that's all coming together and the assets that we're building, which are all about education and the value we can add. So there's some courses that we're building in terms of particularly helping menopausal women, which goes with we've got a Better A2 product that is for women over 50. And in conjunction with that, we're trying to add value for people, at that time of life. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't wait to see, I guess not only the initial sales, but if we can build like a bit of a raving fan base, because women at that time of life is really challenging. So, if we can add some value to them and get a bit of a um, community running, I'd be really, really happy with that.
Have you heard about a company called Obvi? O B
OVI?
O B
OVI?
V I. So it's a US based company that is doing supplements, collagen supplements, and they really blew up doing exactly that, of creating a community on Facebook where the point is not to sell their product, but truly help people and make sure that people can communicate around its collagen supplements. So it's really about like talking about supplements and health. So that I cannot say that it's a bad idea, because this company is extremely successful right now. And actually the owner does a lot of podcasts and talks about how he grew the company
Ah,
from really nothing, but creating that Facebook group. So I think you're on the right track on that. And something that will probably work, because people care more and more about health, and having
yes.
a place where they can literally hear it from the horse's mouth or the cow's mouth,
Yeah.
almost. uh
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah. And um, I think too is in terms of our journey, we've had to get to a point where we've had the um, I guess not only the time but the headspace to get into this now that we're able to talk and look out. What's so hard when you're an entrepreneur and you're building everything from scratch is you're just in everything all of the time. So we're just, it's what's partially so exciting is now we're just thinking, okay, how do we engage more people with us? But how do we give them the knowledge and how do we pass on what we've learned? Um, in a fun, trying to do it in a fun way. And at the same time, it goes all the way back through to helping, our farming communities. So we're hoping, that there's a link between everyone getting value out of this all of the way through.
No, I totally agree, and that's also one thing we always preach at the agency, is the power of education and writing about your company, because everything that you put online, which is a good and a bad thing, everything that you put online stays forever. And what we say, it compounds. So it's not just pay per click where it drives traffic right away. It's really about creating this compounding amount of knowledge, amount of content, that after people get to know more and more. And actually I googled beta A2 Australia, and now with Google Gemini, what came first was like that whole AI generated content, but based on your website, which means that you guys are doing a really good job about creating content that matters, because that's also a big thing, is
Yeah.
creating
Well, thank
content that
you.
matters. Yeah.
I'm actually really pleased to hear that you got that, from the other side of the world, that we had that reach. I'm really, really pleased because like so much thought and process goes into every word that we write. And I'm sure as I'm talking, all the other entrepreneurs out there going, oh yeah. But I would say too, the hardest thing of that is actually just publishing because you like, again, that's a learning for us is just put it out there and it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
Um, but, but that's been really hard for us because, our backgrounds are, we want to represent it in the very best way. We want everything to be the very best. So, that's, our coaches around us are just saying, just publish, just get it out there. As long as it's
Yes.
okay, just get it out there.
And
So,
most of the time people are not as knowledgeable as you, so if you publish something you think is okay, it's probably very good.
yeah.
You just don't
Yeah.
know, because for you it's just like, okay, I know so much about it that is just scratching the surface. But for people like me, for example, uh, you know, uh, going on your website, I learned a lot. I learned a lot in an hour that I never imagined before. So it was very enlightening. And I'm
And
not
that's,
in
yeah,
the
that's a really like a valuable thought as well, because I think we're our harshest critics.
Yes.
And it's I would say both of us, Mandy and I, who are the ones who are in the business every day, we push ourselves incredibly hard, as I think all successful entrepreneurs do. And you just, have a very high expectation of what you do. And sometimes that can get in the way, particularly of marketing. It's good for everything else, for our scientific formulations, absolutely attention to detail. So we're doing that, and then you have to step then into marketing where you're creative, and you have to be okay that it's not perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
I have a question that I always ask is, what role does experimentation play in your marketing strategy? Do you guys experiment a lot, or do you kind of like try to stick and then just keep doing it until you perfect it?
Um, so if I'll talk about our current one, we're actually starting with 9 versions. Um, and we're down now, like we're just gradually chopping the ones off that are not working. And then trying to do more of the ones that are, because it's a new avatar that we're talking to. It's women over 50, and we're still learning how do we market best to women over 50. And so yeah, we've started with 9 and we're cutting it down, and we're trying to do that. We've probably done a lot of experimentation in a bad way. um, but I think we are getting better now. And as I said before, the shift is actually more about adding value as opposed to the traditional marketing of, half price sales, and turning it into, I guess, value add and relationship, trying to help people, which is where we naturally are, but it wasn't what we thought we had to do for marketing till we learned it. Mm.
So that's very interesting because nowadays it's everybody says, "Oh, make it cheaper," and then that will sell. So how did you measure, I would say, the results, or the impact on going from, as you were saying, just talking about sales or just doing sales or promotion to like clearly the opposite of, nope, we're not doing sales, but we're going to tell you why
Yeah.
it's worth that much.
Why it's worth it. And again, that's been a big journey for me, because a lot of my background is sales. So it is actually about, run a promotion, particularly in a grocery store. It's on shelf, and the owners of the grocery stores love it when you do a half price promotion. They love that. So the journey for us, though, of figuring it out has actually been our online store and Amazon, but because you get pretty immediate feedback of how many clicks you get through at different prices, and you can set at price. But we find we don't get very more. If it's slightly on promotion, like just only, maybe 5% off, we get as many clicks as if it's 40% off. It makes no difference. So that's been like, we're going, okay, so we should be investing money and helping people instead of just taking price off the product. The other part is once people are consuming it, once people have bought it the first time, we have a very, very high repeat rate, because people notice the difference straight away. So again, the hardest bit is getting them to try it. And that's all about education. That's not really about price. And then once they're consuming it, they're very loyal. Particularly our pregnancy and beyond product, we've found women take that for the full 9 months in which they're pregnant, and then they'll automatically then go on and give their new baby. If they're not breastfeeding, they'll use our infant formula. So the brand loyalty, once they're consuming it, is very, very good. So all of our marketing needs to be around education as to the why now. And once we've got consumers, we've got to figure out now, how do we continue to add value to them so that they're not, that how do we surprise them is probably the next piece of learning that we need to do.
So I would say specifically for your product and product of your category, meaning very highly, I would say, beneficial food product or supplements. The biggest hurdle is getting people to get in the brand. So yours is
The
like once people bought it once, it's like done. It's hooked,
Done.
and they keep buying it.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, you're very
But
right. It's how do, and that is really about getting the general message about there, about the why. Why do you want to use an A2 protein milk versus a regular milk? What will it do for you? Um, so, and look, there's other things that we put into the product like lactoferrin, which is found in colostrum. We use colostrum. We use all sorts of amazing ingredients, but the big key difference for us is the difference in the milk. So,
no, it's very interesting, and it's good to kind of think about that as right now people just try like the cheapest price or the this or the that, but it shows that when you have a great product and once you get people to understand about the product, then it's 80% of the way, 80% of the way, and then after it's just making sure you're delivering on time. And
yes.
I don't know how Australians are, but in the US now with Amazon, it's like if you deliver in more than 2 days, it's a drama.
So it depends where in Australia. So we're in
Yes.
Melbourne, which is in the southern eastern side, um, and into regional areas that it could take up to 10 days to get there. So one of our key next is actually to get some warehousing that's more regional, because regional people should, just because of where they live, they shouldn't have to wait longer. So I think that might be one of the ways, we can surprise them, as we can improve in that space. And like Perth, which is way over in the west, we've now got some product in Perth to help, but still out of Perth, it still could be five to 10 days to get to regional and remote areas
Areas.
of WA, because we're such a big country with a small population. Yeah.
So we talked about you getting into the Asian market, and apart from that, is there any other upcoming project that you're very excited about? Something that that like people won't know necessarily by looking up your brand, but that you want to share on this podcast.
You want the scoop? um, so we're in talks into Canada, which is we'll be really excited to be going to Canada, and of all places into Central America, being able to one, take the amazing Australian products into the rest of the world, but we think we can make a difference to people's health, which we're really super excited about.
So now, one thing that I like to know is what is one app or tool that you're using daily and like you cannot not use during the day, something that helps you do business, something that like, and it's more business, not Facebook can be, but the idea is more of saying like, if I didn't
Yeah.
have that app, I would have a hard time with running my business or like doing my business on a daily basis.
So from a marketing perspective, we use Canva every day. And that's replaced most of our other tools. It's replaced, we're now doing our videos, we're now doing all of our design presentations in Canva. And we've, from a business perspective, in terms of managing our CRM, we've just changed to, and I'm going to look, it's called Mastermind. And we're stoked with that because so many different things like Aweber's it brings everything into the one
It's like an
tool.
aggregator
Yes, which
of all
I'm
the social
absolutely
channels.
loving because we've got so many different subscriptions, things that don't talk to one another. This is actually
Also,
you
we'll
know, our
link it in the
CRM.
description.
Yeah, exactly
That's the first time
right.
I'm hearing about it, so it's interesting to.
So it's
It's
actually
interesting.
very new. And Tony Robbins is behind it, I believe.
Look
So
at that.
yeah. And Dean, I'm going to say Dean Grossi, and Tony Robbins are behind it. Yeah. So, and they've obviously seen the same challenges that we have as, you know, we've got, you know, I would think I'm just looking on my system now. It's got open. I've got 9 different things open. And why I've got them open is I'm dropping them all into Mastermind, then I'm closing them down. I'm going to be exiting them. So very excited about that.
That's a pretty cool.
I
And
hope he pays.
huh?
I hope he pays me for the plug.
We'll reach out to him and put you guys in contact. Uh,
Yeah.
and what secret trick would you be okay with sharing today about, I would say, marketing a health and consumer product that like something you want to share, you know, something a little something that you learned and that you're like, you know, not telling everybody, but you're okay telling here today.
Marketing. I feel like such a newbie at marketing. I really do.
Sounds to
Let me
me like
think.
you're pretty experienced because everything we talked about, it might not be like in the minutia of some digital marketing, but on a global level of marketing, that's I heard some pretty
Yeah, I feel
amazing nuggets.
so from our gosh. I would say my key learning though has really been to take a lot of advice and have a really good mentor who you trust, and it took us a while to find that, and then to have everything built in your systems. So whereas I said we've sort of spent a lot of money and then not had, so even that the Facebook's been built in the back of their Facebook, not on the back of our Facebook, you know, so we've lost a lot of data and a lot of learnings. So for me, that would be the number one thing I'd say to people, to get a good coach and someone you trust, take their advice, but still hold everything within your system. So if you're using ClickFunnels or whatever, make sure it's your ClickFunnels so that you get to
Totally
keep it. So I
agree.
hope I'm not telling people not to do your thing, but you know,
No,
it's
no, no. That actually, this is
it,
how we work with all of our clients.
yeah,
we never have their account. They have their own account, and we totally agree with that because we're here to help people, not to help ourselves. It's, I would say, the byproduct of the client success is our success. But yes, that's a great advice for
yeah.
everybody out there. Do not let people own your marketing channels.
Yes. And, you know, that's all like I'm a big one on, you know, the intangible assets of a business. And your marketing channel is a super, and your customer, the link to your customer. So, you know, building your email list, you know, so it's coming off Facebook and you own it. I mean, that's a huge asset that you then have within the business. And it can be worth more than the product. You know, if you own the marketing sales, and you own the way to talk to a consumer, that can be leveraged against any product. So it's not, you know, it can end up being an incredible asset within your business. So, you know, not are you only investing in your marketing to get sales, but you are actually building a value within your
Data.
business. Mm.
And my final question for you today, which is, can be another hour of talk, but the idea is to kind of summarize it. What are you excited about in the world of digital marketing, and what are you worried about?
Um, they're both the same thing. It's AI. Like we're just starting to learn AI. We're starting to use it for being able to put our voices onto different faces, to translate our voices into different languages so that we can do training programs and things like that into different countries, which is amazing. Um, but then once you do that, what's the control on what happens to your voice and your image and I think we've got it's super exciting, but it's very scary at the same time. So yeah, it's both the same thing.
Sounds a bit like a Star Wars story, of like the dark side of using AI and the good ideas about it, and it can be amazing, and then really how bad it can be. And the funny thing that it's really amazing you're telling me that you're using AI to, have your voice, I would say, in a different language, because now they're using that against people. And recently
Yes.
in Ferrari, I don't know if you heard, but they almost got scammed out of millions, where they impersonated the CEO of Ferrari, called somebody in their office. I don't remember if it was the CFO or something like that, and said like we needed to wire money because they were buying a company and it had to be done quick. And the guy almost got fooled. And we're talking about
Yes.
extremely smart people, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because you believe your eyes and you believe your ears. So it's super crazy. We at the moment are not putting our faces and our voices together. So sometimes Mandy's the voice, sometimes, like, so we actually are some sort of morphed thing. But, it's, I mean, even, the claims were, with Joe Biden, your president, which have been following, that they were fakes, of what they were putting up. And, so if you can do that with a president, yeah, it's, I think we've got to get cleverer at picking up what's real and what's not, and being a lot more cynical. We've, but having said that, people do it. People are the ones doing it. We've had people who, with fake IDs impersonate themselves to enter into work on our account and our business to steal our IP. And that was no IP. That was no AI. That
Old
was people trying
school
to get our recipes.
forging.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Old school. And they almost got us. So, yeah, so it's super exciting, but super scary. Mm.
I cannot agree with you more.
Yeah.
Gill, it was honestly amazing to have you on this podcast, and really learning, and for everybody out there to learn when you want to create a very special product, because yours is very scientifically researched, and how to go to market, how to market that product, how to grow the business. It's very impressive what you've done. I'm very excited. Maybe we'll see that in the US in the near future.
Yeah. I hope so. Hope so.
So that's pretty exciting. Thank you so much. Good luck to you and Beta A2. So just for anybody curious, the website is, and I'll let you introduce your website, the address.
Oh, it's just www.beta, BETA, and then a2.com.au.
So you can
So
learn about it, because
absolutely.
it's, even if in the US we cannot buy it, you can go on the website and get educated about that special kind of milk that seems to be solving a lot of the problem we have today with milk. So
Thank you very much. Thank
thank you.
you. I've really appreciated meeting you and having our chat. And yeah, look, hopefully hopefully we catch up next time I'm in the States. I'll give you a call.
Super. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Alexander.